What's up, Guardians? With the Taken King, we'll receive a weapon balance pad with a lot of fixes to exotic weapons. But what about the exotic armor? There are a lot of exotic armor pieces in the game that are simply just not used because they can't compete with some of the others. So in this video I'll be going over some potential buffs that they could give to these exotics to make them much better, but also not break them. Let's go ahead and start off with the Warlock exotics. First off, the Apotheosis Veil. It should receive a buff that was actually in recently posted fake patch notes from the Taken King. Private reserves should also trigger health regeneration for nearby teammates. This would also make it work with Airborne, as it is currently when you self-revive you already have full health, but with this buff your self-revive could also heal your teammates. The Purifier Robes. Now originally the Purifier Robes had a perk that made it so any enemy that was killed by being ignited would explode into fire. I think a buff should incorporate that. The robe's blind area of effect should be increased. There's no reason it should be smaller than a blind grenade. And any enemy that is killed with a solar ability while blinded will explode into fire, damaging any other nearby enemies. This fire would also activate Touch of Flame. With this buff you could self-revive, kill an enemy with your Scorch melee, and possibly damage his nearby allies. Skull of Dire Ahankara. The skull should give Annihilate on top of the bonus to toughness while using Nova Bomb. Starfire Protocol. The Starfire Protocol should give 2 grenades to all subclasses, not just 2 fusion grenades to Sunsingers. Sunbreakers. The Sunbreakers should make solar grenades do more damage and give Touch of Flame to solar grenades on top of making them last longer. The Ram. Now the Ram doesn't need a buff. What it does need is a nerf. Just a small one though, not a big one. It makes it so in PvP you live things you just shouldn't live. Like while in Radiance you can take a golden gun shot with it. That's pretty ridiculous. What I think should be done is it'll give you an armor boost, but not if you are spec'd into max armor already. This way you could spec into something else instead of full armor while still having full armor. I know a lot of you will probably disagree with this, but hey, it's not like it's going to actually happen anyway, right? Now for Hunter. And the ATS-8 Arachnid. Now the Arachnid is the worst exotic armor piece in the game. I took a bit of time thinking to come up with a buff for this that would be useful and fit the whole spider gimmick. Now on top of the Arachnid's golden gun zoom, it should leave behind a solar spider web wherever the golden gun shot landed and keep it there for about 5 to 6 seconds. The web should slow enemies who are walking on it and also burn any targets while they're in it. This would be useful in both PvE and PvP. In PvE, major targets or bosses don't normally die to golden gun shots, so the Arachnid would slow them down, making them easy to finish off. In PvP, the golden gun shot will obviously kill the target, but any nearby target would get stuck as well. Now with combustion this wouldn't be very useful, but there are multiple uses for this. Unsuspecting enemies could run right into it if they aren't paying attention, and if your golden gun is about to run out before you can get to a target, you can fire it at the ground in a doorway, preventing them from moving forward when they do get close enough. Now I understand it's kind of a weird buff, kind of a weird gimmick, but hey, it was all I could really come up with, and this thing really needs something to make it stand out above the rest. Capris Sting, or Capri Sun Sting, whatever you want to call it. The buff I have in mind for the Capri Sun Sting would only really affect PvP. Any enemy struck with the backstab should be poisoned, much like how the Thorn would, but stronger ticks. This wouldn't really affect PvP because if you hit a Guardian with a backstab, then they'll die anyway. Radiant Dance Machines. The Dance Machines should give a passive agility buff, but the buff wouldn't stack if you have max agility. This way you can run lower agility and something else while still technically having max agility with the Radiant Dance Machines on. They should also make it so you do a unique dance too, because they're dance machines. Why don't you dance? You gotta dance. Young Ahankara's Spine. The Spine should give 2 grenades across all subclasses, on top of what it does for trip mines. Its full potential would be for gunslingers, but blade dancers and night stalkers could get use of it too. And finally, Titan, and the ACD Zero Feedback Fence. The Feedback Fence should do more damage to minions of the darkness. There's no reason they shouldn't one-shot on-level thralls when it has a cooldown. They don't need a PvP buff because they ensure you'll win every melee fight if both you and your opponent are at full health. Eternal Warrior. The Eternal Warrior should give more armor on top of the Unstoppable perk, but it should only give more armor in the way I proposed the Ram should. MK44 Stand-Asides. The Stand-Asides should give shoulder charge as well as added duration. No backup plans. The no backup plans should make Force Barrier trigger on a hit, not just a kill, on top of what it already does. Paragon Greaves. The Paragon Greaves should give increased agility in the way a proposed dance machines should, on top of the bonus damage while airborne. Glass House. The Glass House should increase the bonuses from Blessing and Weapons of Light by 5% on top of what it already does, and I think it should give a second perk that you can swap to called Sustained by Light that gives ammo regen to primary and special weapons for you and teammates while in the Ward of Dawn. The regen rate would depend on the weapon type and class. And that's pretty much it for all the exotics I would buff. There may be some that weren't on this list that you would like to get buffed. If so, how would you buff them? Or if you have different buff ideas for some of the exotics that I did have on this list, go ahead and leave your ideas in the comments below. And that's pretty much it, guys. I want to thank y'all for watching. I very much appreciate it. And I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.